Slavery. That's the place everybody likes to start Negro history. You have ignorant black men being brought over from Africa in chains. Terrible thing, slavery. But this way slavery is taught, it sort of takes the sting out of it. Because the way it's usually taught, people think that we Afro-Americans started with nothing but little grass skirts like the kids in the Tarzan movies. And though America gave us slavery, America kindly gave us religion and a lick or two of education. And when we get more jobs and more education, up from slavery. But we had something before we left Africa, something more than rhythm. I mean, we had a high culture. Culture was so high that great artists in the world are still borrowing from it. Now here's a sculpture by an unknown African artist. And here's what Paul Klee took from him. Now here's a work by an unknown black African, and Pablo Picasso liked what he saw. Another African design, and Modigliani swiped it. Or he was influenced by it, or whatever polite word you want to use. Another black African artist, and Picasso didn't change it very much. I mean, when you look at this copying, you gotta give us a little more than rhythm. You gotta give us style. Now, if you tell the history of slavery right, you got a big problem on your hands. The slave trader didn't take some savage out of Africa. He took a human being. He sold him like an animal and separated him from his family. America invented the cruelest slavery in the history of the world. It broke up black families. After slavery was over, America kept breaking up the black man's family. And that's some awful history to teach. Now, if you want to look history right straight in the eye, you're going to get a black eye. Because it isn't important whether a few black heroes got lost or stolen or strayed in America's history textbooks. What's important is why they got left out. Now, this country has got a psychological history. There was a master race, there was a slave race. And though there isn't any political slavery anymore, those same old attitudes have hung around.
Shalom, shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Shema Shah, double honors and apostles and brothers of Great Millstone, and elders as well. And shalom out there to the brothers that are in sincerity, preaching this truth to the sheep on the highways and byways, including myself as well. Today's topic will be concerning how dominant Israel was as a whole. I was having a conversation with a particular significant other, and, we were basically talking about the worldly aspects of African Americans in general, and I was basically trying to break down to him of how important it is that basically this land in America is not made for us to succeed. We done had the curses on us for so long that whenever we was, basically trying to fight against, poverty and trying to build up our own communities as so-called African Americans, Esau, Edom, and his inheritance would try to bomb us, set things on fire, flood out graves. Like, they would basically just spittle over us, and he was just basically making an excuse saying how there's racism everywhere, which is true. But I was basically trying to break down to him, like, in particular, us as a chosen people, not just black, but the whole 12 tribes, is that, we're always looked upon on as different. We're smart, we're quick, we're fast, and, we're always being promoted as the number one face of everything. And sometimes our people can be part of that as well, but mostly it's part of the whole world, including Esau, Edom. And if you don't have a spiritual eye to look upon that, knowing biblically, that it describes it in the book of Genesis, for Jacob have a love for Esau, have a hate it, and for Jacob is the beginning of the world, and Esau is the end. You can't really have a conversation with people that are, basically thinking of a worldly perspective along things. So he also gave a thought to say that, where during that time we never had power for black people that would conquer and take over, lands and things of that nature. I'm like, it is. We had a Renaissance era during Europe, and we had the Moors, during that time when we had black kings and queens, And a lot of this stuff is not really recorded, or it's even destroyed, or it's probably hidden in books that they don't sell anymore. But the matter of the fact is that us as a people, we have always been here. And in any aspect of life, we have always conquered anything, you know. And I couldn't specifically like name, you know, any Renaissance Moors, you know, people off the top of my head. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you was to do research and, you know, dig deep into that, that'd be a whole nother topic. But you know, just to reach out to this lesson, you know, I just wanted to talk about a couple of scriptures in regarding to how powerful Israel was as a whole, you know. And at the end, you know, the Lord is just gonna come. He's gonna come, and then he's gonna save his remaining elect here, you know, as a whole, you know what I'm saying, to just, you know, destroy this earth and create a new one. So just to kick things off, this is Numbers chapter 33, verse 50. And the Lord spoke unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye are passed over Jordan into the land of Canaan. This is the 52th verse. Then ye shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images, and quiet pluck down all their high places. This is verse 53. And ye shall dispose of the inhabitants of the land, and dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it. This is verse 54. And ye shall divide the land by lot for an inheritance among your families, and to the more ye shall give the more inheritance, and to the fewer ye shall give the less inheritance. Every man inheritance shall be in a place where his lot falleth, according to the tribes of your fathers ye shall inherit. So this not only shows that, you know what I'm saying, Israel has conquered a lot of lands, but it just shows how powerful they are, and the fact that God is on their side each and step in every way. You know, this is also another great scripture. This is Numbers 32, and this is chapter 32, verse 32. And Slakia. Oh, where is it? And the land be subdued before the Lord. Excuse me, let me start over. And the land be subdued before the Lord, then afterwards ye shall return, and be guiltless before the Lord and before Israel. And this land shall be your possession before the Lord. So basically it was talking about the tribe of Reuben and Gad. They was asking Moses, and particularly if they can settle outside before the promised land. And you know, it kind of made everybody mad, including Moses as well. But in order to fulfill prophecy, you know, they had to go ahead fully armed and fight until the land was subdued, meaning that, you know what I'm saying, could you imagine how big Israel's army was? Like, they were powerful, they were scary. And you know what I'm saying, the fact that they had the Lord on their side, you know, many other nations knew that, you know, Israel was special and different. This is also another verse, Exodus 17 chapter, verse 11 and 13. This is describing how Moses, Lord tested Moses with his faith and the whole Israel army. And it came to pass when Moses held his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he laid down his hand, Amalek prevailed. So they were in war with Amalek. But Moses' hands were very heavy. And they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. Meaning that it was a battle between Israel and Amalek, and Moses didn't fight physically, but he raised his arms, lightly holding the staff of God, signifying his prayer and authority in his belief and faith in God, because, every time his hands would go down, Amalek would take over. But, it's just the fact of believing that we are going to get out of here soon, and just keep believing that we are, as a people, are very powerful, even though now it's getting worse day by day. But just looking at the history, and it just even shows how now, even with the Black Lives Matter movement, like, even though that was a big scam, but it just goes to show you, not to do anything with color, but particularly the tribe of Judah really stood out, you know what I'm saying, for that particular reason of the brother of Floyd that lost his life due to Esau standing on his neck. Like, everybody in the world was supporting that, you know what I'm saying? And even had a couple of Esau people as well, whether if they was doing it for the money scheme or whatever, it was broadcasted everywhere, throughout all the police brutality and everything. We are, as a nation, are powerful, and this just goes to show you another significance key into how, us as a people are very dominant. This is Joshua, the 10th chapter, verse 12 and 13. Then spoke Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, this is Joshua, sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. And there was no day, this is verse 14, and there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkening unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Meaning that Joshua, that the Lord was dealing with Israel so much that he trusted Joshua to command, to listen, to tell the sun to listen to, what Joshua was saying. If that doesn't show you how scary that is, like, I would be so afraid if I was to hear someone say, sun, stand still. Meanwhile, we're in battle and the sun is not going down. It could be 10 o'clock at night, supposedly, and the sun is still up. That just goes to show you how powerful Israel was as a whole nation if they would just listen to the Lord. And, we all not perfect, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there have been many things that we piss the Lord off doing every day, and we're just grateful that we aren't just killed instantly. We have a gratitude time, we have a waiting time before our time is out. But the best thing that we can do is just to believe and just to keep pushing the word of knowledge and truth. And this is just to continue off as well. Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 4. After he had slain Sihon the king of the Amorites, which dwelt in Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan, which dwelt at Ashtaroth and Erdi. You know what I'm saying? They was slaying kings, Moses and I believe David as well. They did a lot of inhabiting and conquering. And this just shows you how great David was. This is 2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 13 to 14. And David got him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's servants. Now that is amazing, David defeated 18,000 soldiers, showing how clearly his dominance is strong. He turned rival nations into vassal states. The Lord was definitely dealing with David as well. He dealt with all his prophets. Anybody that he had to represent in the Bible, he dealt with them. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants and brought tribute. Thus the Lord preserved David wherever he went. David was not only a skilled warrior, he was God's favorite. He believed. He had great courage and faith. And it just goes and show you how strong Israel's army was. 1 Samuel 18th chapter, verse 7. And the women answered one and another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. You know, that just goes to show you that they had so many people that even the kings thought that they could go up against them. And everybody was like, no, you better not mess with Israel, because they're dangerous. So anyway, this is just a quick lesson in regards to, you know, just goes to show you how strong and powerful Israel is, you know. And this is just an inspired closing out chapter of a verse. This is Revelation the 19th chapter. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on a horse, and against his army. So, you know, Esau and Edom, they're the beast. They're going to try to go against, you know, Yahweh Shah whenever he comes back on them chariots, you know. And it's going to be the same thing as similar to David. And when Moses and all of them, whenever, you know, the Israelites were conquering these certain places, except this time, when the Lord comes back, he's going to conquer the whole earth, everything. And he's going to make Esau, Edom, our slaves, which is in the book of Obadiah, the 1st chapter. You know? And, yeah, that's exactly what's going to go down. So, double honors to the apostles and others, great millstone. Shalom, thank you for tuning in. And Barakatah, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. All praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah for everything. Shalom.